Hello.
Hello,
Hi,
Beverly.
everybody.
Buddy.
Hi there.
So I was telling our guests tonight that every episode we have fewer people live and more people watching the program afterward. And it's weird. I miss the days. I really do miss the days. Someone else just joined us. I miss the days of having 100 people or 200 people on during the taping of this
Mm,
because we get an amazing array of questions.
I
So
bet.
I feel like now the pressure is on me to think of questions, but I'll do my best. But the follow up has been it's been really really good, which is why we continue to do these every month.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
appreciate
it's really and I get hear from people who binge watch these things. Like I'll speak with
Hmm.
students sometimes, and they'll say, "Yeah, we found out about this channel with these shows, and I think this is episode 31 or something or 32." So someone will say, like, "I watched all of them in the weekend." I'm thinking that is a lot, like a
Yeah.
whole lot.
They're all an
But
hour, right? Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah.
they're it's really interesting. I mean, if someone was to take the time to go through all of the episodes that we've had of this particular show and
Hmm.
list out all the tips,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
unbelievable because you're getting
Yeah.
all the tips and things that like professional voice actors use. Well, 32 episodes, if that's what we have, means 64 voice actors.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the tips from 64 working voice actors combined is a lot of freaking tips. Like it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
if you are really setting out to build a studio, my goodness, what a great resource. So it's
Absolutely.
so we have such good feedback about this. So we keep going.
Nice.
Anyway, it is 5 after, probably the latest we've ever started. So I think it's time to get going. I just want to say hi to Lance. I'm not sure if Lance is on. I just saw Lance join us. Lance, hello. I haven't spoken with you in a long time. Russell, hello. You were saw you recently. Tim, Ken, everyone else, Laura, Beverly. Cool. Let's do this thing. Everyone ready?
Ready.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Home Studio Show and Tell. This is probably my favorite thing to record every month. Every month, we have two amazing voice actors on our show, and they give an amazing tour of their studios. If you are live with us, it's a great opportunity to ask questions. And if you watched us afterward, it's a great opportunity to learn from the pros. Tonight we have two very interesting voice actors on. One I barely know. One I knew a long time ago, and then Marie, we fell out of touch. I don't know, 10 years.
At least, yeah.
Yeah, my goodness. Yeah, a bit more on that in a moment. So we'll get to our awesome voice actors in a moment. I just want to walk you through a couple of house rules here. I love Zoom calls like we are on with open mics. All of you can interject, and I want you to interject. I want you to ask questions without using the chat. I want you to laugh and whatever, just join the conversation. This really should be a conversation. However, you have to manage your mute button. If there's any noise in your background, please hit your mute. I can always find out who is causing a noise and quiet you down. I can mute your microphone, but it takes time for me to do that. A few seconds. That means I'm pulled away for everyone else. So, right now, if you're not sure where your mute is, find it. Make sure you know how to mute your microphone, and then unmute and stay with us. Just mute it if there's any noise in your background. Okay. I want to introduce our voice actors. Let me start with Marie. About Marie, maybe a month ago, I walked into our studio in New York City, and I saw this face, and I'm thinking, "Whoa, you look familiar." And she said, "David." Marie, how many years has it been since we worked together?
Um, I started with you in 2012.
Oh my goodness, 13 years. Okay, fast math for me. 13 years ago, I trained Marie. We put together demos way back when, I guess, and it's been so long since I've seen her. We hired her for a voiceover job. Our casting person at Edge Studio hired Marie. It was great to see you again. We chatted, and boy, Marie, you've done a lot of work. I'm so pleased. I'm so excited for you.
Thank
As
you.
soon as I saw the amount of work on her website, I said, "You have to join our home studio show and tell." And so here she is. So it's amazing to be reacquainted with you. It's amazing to see how much work you've done. I'm so excited to see your studio. but not quite yet. Let's first move over to Christine. And embarrassingly, on a live show, I have to say, I don't remember your husband's name. Who's your engineer? What is your name again?
I'm James. Hi,
James.
everybody.
Okay, and James. Husband wife duo. I worked with Christine and James 2 months ago, perhaps.
I think so,
Something like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, for the first time ever, and they are fantastic.
Well,
Thank you.
Christine, did you marry James because you wanted an engineer in house, or is there like more than that?
Right? I know that might have been in there somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere. Yeah, my wife married me because I lived near a Trader Joe's. You got an engineer. Like, there's always something. Like, husband needs something like that to get hooked.
Yeah.
So when I worked with Christine and James, I was so impressed with the work that the voiceover work that they've done as a team. Same thing. I said I'd love you to be on our home studio show and tell, and so here they are. So
Honored to
in
be
this
here.
Yeah.
oh, it's amazing to have you here. So in the next hour, we'll take a wonderful tour of each of their studios. I really want all of you who are live to ask questions. Join this conversation. If there's anything you want to know about their studio, ask them. If you see something in their studio and you don't know what it is, you can say, "What is that thing?" That's totally fine. We're all here to learn. I have done this is, well, episode 32. I've done this 32 times with two voice actors. That's 64 studios. I still learn. There's always something to learn. So, with that said, does anyone have any questions before we officially get going?
Not yet.
There's a text here, a chat from, I think, Alt will mute and unmute. Oh, thanks, Russell. Yep. Marie, can you give us a 1-minute overview, if you can, really 1 minute? We should all know how long 1 minute is. Overview of you and voiceover.
Okay. I started in 2012 training at Edge Studio. I would go in for classes, remote classes, started with audiobooks. I did about, I don't know, 10 years worth of audiobooks. And I said, I'm really tired doing audiobooks. So I moved into commercials, e-learning, telephony, things like that. So I work from my home studio. 90% of the time, I do all of my work from here through Source Connect or a Zoom call and recording here. I set up my studio. It took me months to set it up. But when I finally got it set up, I met all the specs that I needed for all the directors and all the studios and publishers that I work with. So still recording commercials, audiobooks, and e-learning.
Amazing. What is your favorite project you've worked on? It doesn't have to be a brand name, just something really interesting that you worked on. Something you're proud of.
My favorite project is the Super Bowl commercial that I just did this year. And it was a 5-hour session with a client. And I didn't, I never was on a session for that long. Usually it's an hour and a half. And it took forever, but it was just really fun going back with the ad agency, the director, the engineer, whomever. And, I'm here, so all I did was I just asked them, could I just have a bathroom break? Could I go get some pretzels? Like hungry. So, but turned out a great product, a project, and it was a 30-second spot, and I loved it. I still get so many compliments on it.
Can we ask what the brand name was?
It was Bayer Heart Health. And basically it's, open your eyes to your health risks. You think that because you're maybe a young person or you walk to work or something like that, make sure, you get tested and make sure that you know your risks, and it's better to take care of a small risk before it becomes a big problem. So, and it was sort of like a tongue-in-cheek thing where it was a little bit of humor in there. So it was fun. It made it a lot of fun.
That's great. Oh, I'm very anxious to ask about your mic and all kinds of things, but first, let's meet Christine and James.
Yep.
Give us the 1-minute overview. Or you should get 2 minutes since it's two of you. 2 minutes.
You want to start?
Sure, I guess I'll start. So I'm James, Christy's husband, and my background basically is in both post-production and music. I worked as a post-production supervisor for a very long time, and while doing that, I learned how to use Pro Tools, we were working with voiceover artists to record voiceover for TV, a lot of reality show, documentary stuff. And I kind of saw this going on. I was like, you know what, my wife and I can do this at home. She's got a great voice. People always coming up to her saying, "You should do voiceover. You should do voiceover." So I was like, well, I know how to use the gear. Let's just build a studio and get started. And that's what we've been doing for, did we talk 8 or 9 years now, something like that. We started in Los Angeles, in a small apartment, and then eventually made our way up to Eugene, Oregon, where we are now, and in this office now. Yeah.
That is such a great story. So, so I guess, okay, Christine, I was going to ask a funny question about what came first, the engineer or the husband, but now we know the answer. So it's like the chicken egg. Christine, what is your favorite project that you've worked on that you have voiced? And then James, I'll ask you your favorite. James, in a minute, I want to hear your favorite project that you have recorded. But Christine, let's hear from you first.
Oh my goodness. I would say a really fun one was I did a voiceover for Disneyland Tokyo and for their ride. And I'm one of these little like characters on the ride, making sure that everyone is safe in their seat, or if the ride breaks down, my voice comes on as a little character. That was such a fun recording. Yeah.
That was fun, yeah.
I'm eager to go to Tokyo and hear it.
Yeah, how many people hear your voice every single day, right?
Yeah.
Thousands. That's
Hopefully
great.
none, because it's when the ride breaks.
Oh, I know. Yeah, actually, I don't want it to break down. But yeah.
Oh,
No, I think it's also when you're like getting in and securing yourself.
Yeah, the safety would be on for everyone, hopefully.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great, Christine. And James, what about your favorite project?
I don't know. We did our first audio book last year, and that was interesting because I had to learn how to do all the editing for I'm blanking on the format
ACX.
now. Yeah.
ACX.
Yeah,
Audible?
ACX. That's right. Yeah. So learning how to do all that, and that was kind of a bunch of new skills that I hadn't had before. So that was my recent favorite.
Good. Remind me after the show, James. There are 2 simple voice techniques that eliminate 50% of editing. So I'll tell you after the show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let's dive into some studios, shall we? Let's go into Christine and James. Let's start with your studio. Let's see it.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
You want to take?
I can do it. Maybe I can do it.
Flip it.
Yeah. Here we go.
And Christine, while you're flipping the camera,
Yeah.
what type of work do you do the most of? So Marie has worked mostly in audiobooks, and now she's moved into commercials for 3 or so years. What about you? What is the number one genre that you get booked for?
Well, I would say, so I started out not in VO and regular acting, and I was on the Disney Channel in Tokyo for a long time doing kids things. And so that I do get a lot of children's. I guess I have that like mom or happy voice, or I can do that pretty well. And so that's one of the things that we do, but mostly commercial work.
Medical stuff.
Medical, yeah. I play a doctor often. I've sounded like this since I was like 10 years old, and apparently it lends itself to sounding like a doctor, but also a mom. So yeah, so let's open this up. Whoop. So this is our
before I'm going to ask you something. Can you step back so we can get a glimpse of the whole space? Because that is a nice looking booth. I don't want to go. I want to see the outside first.
Oh yeah.
So someone else shaking their head. Yes. Yeah. We want give us like we walk into your front door, and it's funny. Right before the show started, we talked about that.
Oh yeah. So this is basically our, guest room. So we're walking out into the hall. There's my daughter's room. And she hears me. That's like her lullaby every night, is us recording VO. So we walk in over here. Here's James. Here's our booth, which is a standalone unit that we had made in Salt Lake City.
Park City.
It's called Voice Suite, and it's really a nice booth. It's a huge upgrade from what we used to have before this. It's a little window so I can communicate with James. Before this, we used like an audio, like a hearing audio booth.
Hearing test.
Yeah.
Hearing testing, yeah.
Yeah, from a local guy. And the funny story about that one is that it was so huge. It was a great booth that we found out once we got it, it didn't actually fit through our hallway. And so it lives in the basement. And so for a while we were doing some awkward VOs where I was in the basement, like in the garage, basically, because this thing couldn't travel up. And so we waited for a while for this booth, and yeah, we love her. She's a
So this is
beauty.
can I ask what company makes this booth?
There we go. So this is a Voice Suite in
Oh,
Utah.
you said Voice Suite. That's okay. I'm not familiar with that brand. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they make
As
custom voice booths. You can go on their website and design your own,
Mm-hmm.
specs. Pick the door, pick the size,
Mm-hmm.
pick the shelves, pick where the window goes.
Mm-hmm.
that's phenomenal. So that's
Yeah.
really useful if some people sit, some people stand, and sometimes
You
the
can
booths
do
come with.
both.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that door because I've never
Oh
seen a
yeah.
door with
The
the small
French
panels of
door.
glass. Yeah, is it double glass?
It is, yeah.
Wow, amazing.
I know. It just makes it feel like you're not, completely shut in. The light gets through. It's really like a nice, light, airy space here. As you can see, we got actual Oregon sunshine coming through. There you go. And then, yeah.
This looks to be like a whole like a bedroom or a study or something like that, like a full room.
Yes. It's a very small bedroom that we
Okay.
just made into our studio.
How
Yeah.
easily portable is this booth?
Oh,
You
that's
just gotta
not
take
too bad.
all the bolts. You just it's just put together with hex bolts. So you just take them all out, and each wall comes apart. And it's heavy, but if we had to move, you just take it apart and move it with you. Our old the booth Chrissy was just talking about, the hearing testing booth didn't come apart. It was one big piece of metal that
massive.
you
Okay, yeah.
disassembled. It was on wheels, but
Yeah.
there was no way to get it upstairs and down our hallway.
Yeah.
So
We didn't think that one through before.
we were kind of in the middle of moving when we bought it. So yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
When Edge Studio first switched from music recording to voiceover, we used a studio that existed in New York City, and they had a booth by IAC. And it sounds like the same kind of booth you have. The IAC booths were used very often in studios and also very often in hearing facilities. And so
Yeah.
it was a big, big booth. We wanted it moved once like 2 feet, and it ended up to take 3 guys, 2 specialists from IAC. It took them 2 days to move this box like 3 feet. It was just crazy. I'd like to I'd like to jump to Marie for a moment. And
Sure.
then when we come back, Christine and James, I'd like to hear more about the porting into your booth. If you have ducts that go in for air, if you have ports for wires, I'd like to talk more about that. But first, let's jump over to Marie. Marie, your booth, you're in a whole room, it looks like, right? You don't have necessarily a booth, or your whole space looks to be the booth. Is that correct?
Yeah. I want to say it's, I don't know, 6 by 8, roughly.
Okay. That's
And
nice size. Very nice
yeah,
size. The bigger the booth, the more treatment, the more acoustic treatment it takes to make sound good. So sometimes small
right.
is better. 6 by 8 is a nice size.
Yeah. Well, like I live in this very old house, and in the basement where this booth is, it was a pantry. It was a wooden pantry with a door, had shelves, still has shelves. And I said, this would be the perfect place for a booth. So we took out all of the canned goods, made separate shelves for them. And I lined the shelves with mineral wool, like layer upon layer of mineral wool, put in tons of moving blankets and foam, acoustical foam, and audio panels up near the ceiling. Double layer of moving blankets, 2 types of carpeting on the floor, and there's a cat over there.
Cat.
Hi, Cat.
He's going to
Get,
be 13 on Sunday. And
wait, go back to your ceiling. I'd like to see your ceiling. It looks like you had base, so it's like a thicker foam around the top, which is acting as a base trap around the perimeter, and
yeah,
then the foam on the ceiling, which is great. Wow, your
yeah.
sound sounds really good. I mean, you're doing enough work that you have to have a good sound at this point. Like you couldn't, you want to get the kind of jobs you have if you didn't have really good sound quality.
Well, when I reach out to production houses or studios, I tell them I can deliver clean audio. The noise floor hovers around -70 dB.
Oh wow, that's
So,
terrific.
yeah. So, when an engineer hears that, they're like, yeah, we'll work with you.
Yeah.
So, that was the main thing, was to get whatever was coming from the outside in quiet. So you know, I have a door behind the moving blankets. It's just a wooden door, plain wooden door, but I shut off. I have a dehumidifier down here. I shut that off. In the wintertime, I shut off the furnace, you know, so it's not where it's all by itself quiet. I have to also add things and take away things to make it even more quiet. But I sit here. Sometimes I stand. My mic is on a, you know, an arm here so I could move it up and down. Um, everything right here.
That it looks fantastic. I really like the idea for anyone out there running a bass trap of any sort around the corners, around the perimeter of walls. That is a great idea. Any sort of anywhere you may have molding in a home, like around the floor or the ceiling, that is a place very often where the bass builds up, and so a
Yeah.
big thick piece of foam is really helpful there. Let's go back for a moment to Christine and James. So, y in a smaller booth, you're more likely to get warm, even hot.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So you mentioned, like, you had your first audiobook a year ago or so, or a month, whatever it was. It's one of something ago, a year, 1 year, 1 month.
Yeah.
Do you have let me here's the question. Did you get terribly hot, or do you have air conditioning inside?
No, I would love some air conditioning inside. I got terribly hot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Well,
There's a little bit of venting here. I can take you guys down and
Yeah.
show you where she's allowed to breathe from.
no, I did get a little bit of air.
So here's the booth. It's down here in the corner, and there's the little guy right there.
Okay.
And I can mess with the venting if I feel like it, but I'd like to keep them open if I can. In fact, I think I just closed that one. But this company makes an AC box that you can hook on and duct into that little hole right there, into that little vent that I just showed you. We just we didn't spring for the extra.
We might be spraying for that this
Yeah,
summer.
yeah. It doesn't get too hot where we live, so usually it's not a problem. But when she's in there for a really long time, I think.
Yeah, just body heat alone is going to start to build up. But yeah, lucky enough, we have pretty mild temperatures here. It's not humid.
Yeah.
And in the winter, it's just cozy and nice.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about heat. So, yeah.
Can you run ventilation or dehumidification or anything like that in your studio while you're recording?
We don't. I haven't felt the need for any of that.
Yeah, it's
No.
kind of warm right now. It's unusually warm in Oregon right now, so it's kind of warm in here right now. But normal, that's not really how it normally is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And do you mind, James, do you mind showing us that port again?
Yeah.
Because that is definitely, I mean, it's made for air conditioning, or
Yeah.
any fan. But what about the wires? The port above it. I'd like to
Yeah,
see
so
how
right
that
up
works.
here above it, so you'll see this is the mic cable. It's kind of there's like a metal panel, and it's got this very rigid, almost like brush or like felt sort of material here, and that goes through the wall. And then on the other side, there's another one. It's the same thing. There's this. I don't know. It might be kind of dark, but you can see. Yeah, there it is. The
Oh,
same
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
thing. And so,
Okay.
if you look through, you can see light coming through, but it mostly is really solid. It's not really I don't think a lot of the sound escapes through or comes in through it, and then you can see the cables come up and up into the microphone there, and then over on the other end they just go
And
over here under our desk and up to the interface.
are the windows double pane also?
Yeah, we have good double pane windows here. Every once in a while, a loud truck will drive by, and we'll have to do a retake, but very rare.
Mhm.
Yeah, we usually
Okay.
have good sound installation here. It's a somewhat quiet street. It's we're not on a cul-de-sac like Marie, but
We had to be a little more creative when we lived in LA, and the helicopters were constantly
yeah,
flying over.
that's true. Yeah.
So tell us a bit about your setup, your gear, your DAW, your mic, and so on.
Sure. Yeah. So we have a TLM 103. I'm in right here. We have the black one. And we've had that for a few years now. And then we use this iPad here, and this is side card to our iMac. So I'll take the script and just share it on the iPad here, and that's how Christy reads her scripts. And And then over here we have an iMac. It's from 2019, I think. They don't make them like this anymore, so I'm kind of fearing having to replace it possibly soon. But yeah, and I use Pro Tools, and we use Waves plugins and Isotope and all that fun stuff too. Then over here for our interface, I have an Apogee Duet, and this thing is pretty old. This probably predates most of our other gear, but it's still running. Those things really last, and I think it sounds great. It's very simple, 2 ins, 2 outs. Got a little headphone splitter here, and our monitors. I have these HS5s, I think, Yamaha HS5s. But I mostly do my mixing through these DT 770s. These sound really great. I think a lot of people use those. I saw a lot of other people with these on the show before. And then I don't always need this. I have a little
Talkback.
talkback mic here in SM57. Usually Chrissy can hear me talking at her through the window if I speak up. But if I have to, I'll get on here and I can talk to her as well. What else? I think that's pretty much it.
I have a bunch of questions.
Yeah.
You're okay. I've seen the black TLM 103, but I've never known anyone to have one. You're the first.
Really?
Yeah, you're the first person I know.
Oh, interesting.
Or maybe I know other people who have them. I just don't know that they have them. But that's cool.
Yeah.
And is there a difference other than the color? I assume not. But is there an upgraded inside or something to the black one?
I don't think so. No, I have heard that the black ones are often bootleg. If there's going to be a bootleg TLM 103, it's the black one. But there's other things that are telltale for bootleg that we don't have. So I am pretty convinced it's genuine. I hope
Okay.
so. But yeah, besides that, it's just
Okay.
black.
My next comment is, you know that James is a music engineer because he has Pro Tools.
Yeah.
Almost
Well,
no one else.
I started on Logic, and then
Logic or Pro Tools, yeah.
yeah.
That's great. Yeah, for those of you who may not know, Pro Tools is sort of the grand poobah of DAWs, and it's an amazing program. It's usually not used by voice actors at their home studios because it's so powerful. It's usually more expensive. Usually offers much more than one voice actor would need. It's very common in music recording. Of my 5 rooms in New York City, 4 of them are Pro Tools, and one is Logic. And one of the rooms has like a real, like, heavy duty Pro Tools system. Could have put one of my kids through college, I think, for that thing cost.
Yeah.
But it works great. But we are recording so many tracks. A cartoon can have 10, 15 different tracks of voice actors, and the music and the sound effects. There's just a lot. Voice actors are recording one voice, and that's generally it. So any of the smaller systems make a lot of sense. So, but it's great to hear that you're on Pro Tools. It's very cool.
Yeah.
And
I like
the talkback is great through a 57. I love it.
it. Yeah.
57s are like the greatest all-around mic probably of all time. They're not dynamic. They are dynamic. They're not condenser. So I wouldn't use them for voiceover. But
Right.
the other question I had, James, and then I want to jump back to Christine. When you have client-directed sessions, do you use the 57 for talkback to them?
Yeah. Oftentimes we try and pretend like I'm not here, actually.
Why, why is that?
It's not. No, I'd usually introduce him.
Sometimes, yeah, but if I do have to interject during a session, I will use the SM57, instead of just like yelling through the glass.
That's funny. Okay.
Yeah.
So Christine. Oh, sorry.
Yes.
I was just gonna say we also use Source Connect for that stuff a lot too. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's great. Which version of Source Connect?
Not the new upgraded one. Whatever I know that a new version just came out. We haven't updated to it, so I'm not sure. I can look at it real quick.
Oh, that's fine. I was just curious.
Okay.
Let me look at the questions really quickly. They're just 2 or 3 comments. Let me look at those very quickly, and then we'll move to Christine. Because Christine, I'm Marie. Sorry, I'm anxious to hear about your equipment. Someone wrote, if interested. Oh, someone put up the Russell. Thank you again. Russell put in the chat the link to voicesuite.net.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
Thank you for that. Laura wrote, "Ignore that man behind the curtain."
Yeah,
that's funny. Very funny. Cool. So, Marie,
Yes.
tell us about your equipment.
Okay.
In fact, if you could expand your story, Marie, tell us about the equipment that you began with 13 years ago, and then, unless it's the same now, and
No.
if you've transitioned to what you have now.
Um, 13 years ago, the microphone I had, I can't remember the name of it, but it was, I think it was $99. And I used the Scarlett 2i2 interface.
I remember that.
Yeah. And I had, which I loved, the Sony MDR uh,
Oh,
headphones.
yeah.
But because when I used them for audiobooks, they started to click for whatever reason. So I got another pair and I loved them, but they started to click again. So I just got so disgusted with them that I just switched over to the Bear Dynamic DT 770s. I upgraded to a Neumann TLM 102 microphone because the 103 was extremely bright with my voice, and doing audiobooks, for 10 hours, this very, very bright voice in your head was a little too much. I do have a Lewitt 440, which I also use, which I absolutely love. And I will use those for e-learning, for commercials, but I usually use the TLM 102 for audiobooks. Um, I use Adobe Audition for
Hmm.
DAW, and I started with Audacity, switched up to Adobe Audition. Um,
Why? Tell us why. Why the switch? Because Audition both programs are super popular. So why
well,
the switch from Audacity?
because Audacity kind of inhibited me with certain things, and it made editing a little bit more cumbersome for me. Because I do everything. I don't hire out an editor. I'm like kind of, OCD that way, where it's my work. I want control of it. So yeah, it takes me forever, but I know what I put out and I know that publishers are happy with it and they keep hiring me back. So why fix it if it's not broken? So,
Love it.
so I switched to the SSL2 interface just about a year ago because the Scarlett was giving me problems. I went to a Steinberg. The Steinberg was okay, but everybody was saying the SSL2 was very good because it was a solid state and there's nothing really that breaks in it. I really don't know all the technical stuff behind it, but that's what I use. What did I just do? Here we go. I do have studio monitors, but I don't really use them unless I'm in here just listening to music, or if I want to hear something quickly played back, I will. But when I'm listening back to my stuff, I always have my headphones on. I want to hear what I'm saying. Um, I use a PC. My I have it mirrored in here. This is, just my monitor, keyboard, mouse, wireless mouse, but my laptop is outside the booth because I just don't want the fan noise or any other noise. I've got 3 external drives, so everything I record is saved on my computer, my D drive. And then I also have like an E, F, and G drive outside. So everything, if somebody says, 10 years ago, Marie, you recorded this, you still have a copy of it, I say, yeah, I do. So, so that's what I've got.
I
Um,
am so impressed. I really am. I'm so glad that you got hired for a job at our studio. I want to ask a question, and this is a
yeah.
great question for everyone on this call, not just Marie, Christine, and James. We have found running 5 studios for I've had this business now 37 years, which is crazy. File Our file naming convention is so critical. Every time we have a new engineer start, even a fill-in engineer, a fill-in editor, we go over how to save names or what to name files so we can find things very easily. Marie, with your 3 redundant drives, have you come up with your own system, some file naming convention that works for you?
Um,
Or how do you find something from 10 years ago?
Well, if it's a client that, you know, was an e-learning client, I have, you know, in my head, I just know all my e-learning clients, and I'll go there and I'll look at the day, I mean, the month, the year, and the subject, because each client has a different um, subject, whether it's the University of Florida, or it was Del Monte, or it's, you know, Farmers Insurance or something like that. I'll just go to those particular files and look under there, and they'll send me the revised script and they'll say, if you could just change a couple of sentences, that would be great. When it comes to audiobooks, all of my audiobooks are on a separate um, external drive. So I know that my G drive is all audiobooks. So I'm not looking which, you know, oh, what drive did I put that one on? Um, any commercials that I do, um, they're usually by the client name or by the agent. Usually it's the agency who hired me. So I've got about 6 agents throughout the country and one in Canada. So if they're looking for something, I could get it for them. So
I'm even more impressed. That's amazing.
well,
That's
you
great.
know, it's, I don't know, you just kind of get into that habit because every time you audition for something, you have to be so specific with the file naming. Don't put an underscore, put an underscore, put a space, don't put a space, because the first thing they look at is the way, did you follow the directions? Did you follow the directions of
Sure.
how to save the file? And if you didn't, they're not even going to open it. They're not even going to listen to your audition, because if you can't follow that direction, they can't trust that if they hire you that you're going to follow directions when you come into the studio or when they have you on Source Connect. So it's become so competitive. I mean, it was always competitive, but it's become so much more competitive that you always have to put your best foot forward, because you only get one chance to make a good first impression. So if you blow it, not to say that they won't forgive you, but there'll be a little hesitation. And when there are 50 other people who will do it perfectly, why would they bother with somebody who might not follow the rules?
I agree. Um, I stand impressed. Let's jump over though to another studio here. James, Christine, tell us, your equipment is great. I want to talk. Let's talk about the software you use. So you have this advantage because James is a music engineer. James, you must be familiar with compression, as opposed to probably everyone else on this call just uses normalizers. Do
Yeah.
you compress? I hope so.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Um, I have which I use the H compressor, the Waves H compressor is kind of my
Good.
favorite one lately for voiceover. If not, just the stock compressor that comes with Pro Tools, the Dyne
Hmm.
compressor. Those are my two go-tos if I yeah, which I put the H compressor on everything. So yeah, that's the main one that I use.
Do you compress on the way in or after?
It's just on the so I have a recording track, and that routes to an aux track that has all my plugins on it. So the aux track has the H comp on it.
Okay, that's great.
So there's a raw uncompressed track that is being filtered through the a separate aux track with the compressor on it.
Okay, yeah, that is definitely the best way. I think that's a great lesson for anyone out here,
Mhm.
or anyone who watches this video down the road. If you can record with true raw audio, that's great because once you add any processing to it, it's really hard to undo. So,
Yeah, because
and
some people will ask for it without compression later, and or both, you know. So it's good to have both.
so Marie talked about something, and I want to ask the two of you, if Christine and James, if you do this. Do you have clients who might come back a year later or 10 years later and say, can you go back to something you recorded X number of years ago and we need to change one word or, this or that? How easy is it for you to match that level? Do you keep older microphones. In fact, I'd like to hear what microphones you've come from and where you are now. And you have the U87. I mean, not the U87, the TLM 103 now. What
Yeah.
did you have before? And if a client comes back, how do you match that level? How do you find that file?
Yeah. Yeah, for the file, finding the file, we similarly to Marie, I have a G drive that I back everything up to, so all of our audio is written to the drive. All of our projects are stored on the drive. And this is stuff I learned from my years in post production. You know how to label everything. I kind of keep everything organized by client, or also by agency. So if our agents get us a job, it's in that folder. Um, and you know, and sometimes clients will have their own numbering system. They'll, you know, the job will have a serial number that they generate on their end. I'll make sure to include that, probably in the project name and then in the file name as well, just so if they come back later, I can reference it using their system if they have one. Otherwise, yeah, it's just kind of by client, and then I make sure to have the name of the script and the date on the project and the audio file name as well, the final output. And then yeah, I guess we do. So there was one other question. Sorry.
The matching about
Matching sound quality. Yeah.
Right,
Do you
right.
save your old microphone? I always tell people to save your old microphones.
We've gone through 3 microphones. We started with an MXL 2000, I think, which we still have. That's sort of now our backup mic. You know, the first like cheapy sort of, I think it was 100 or 200 bucks.
yeah, something like that.
And that got us through our initial startup phase. Then we got an SE 2200A. Am I saying that right? An SE microphone. And that one, when we were using the audiology hearing testing booth in our garage got broken into and they stole it. So that mic is gone. And that was when we got the TLM 103, which is an upgrade, I think.
It's an upgrade,
Yeah.
but yeah, that second
So
mic.
that mic is gone, so we
gone.
can't go back to it if we have to. So yeah, we just
Yeah.
have the TLM or the
I
MXL.
forgot about that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right. That did happen.
And how easy is it for you to match something from years ago? Like Christine, you need to make sure your voice matches.
Yeah.
And as
that-
we get older, our voices change. Women's voices don't change at mid-age. Women's voices don't change as much, but there
Mhm.
still is a change. And you may be on a different mic. What happens if you recorded on the SE microphone and now a client wants you to redo something today? How do you go about that?
I mean, it hasn't been. I'll be honest. It hasn't been a problem.
Yeah, that hasn't really. I
it
mean,
hasn't
maybe
come
once
up,
or
yeah.
twice I've had to. We've had to record old stuff that was recorded in a different booth or different
Different
environment.
Oh
booth.
yeah.
And you know, you got to go in and just like trying to match the EQ or
Mhm.
add a little bit of reverb because the booth wasn't as good before.
Yeah.
Or,
Oh,
But in
interesting.
general, they seem to be happier with the upgrade, and so it's not. But in terms of like putting in
like
and
adding
changing
in
words,
things,
yeah.
I feel like I've had to do that once or twice. That's not something that
It's
comes up
not
too
common
often.
for us, but yeah.
And Marie, when you go back and match something from many years ago, is it easy for you to match your voice?
It is because ears. My ears are so attuned. I will listen to maybe 4 or 5 minutes before where I'm supposed to punch in, and I'll speak as I'm listening to it to make sure that I'm on the same, I have the same tone, the same volume, the same energy, um, things like that. And then I'm able to just punch it in or, you know, give it to them however they want it. Um, that was never a problem. And nobody ever came back to me and said, "What did you do? You screwed it up." You know,
Yeah.
sounds horrible. Never, you know. And I'm not saying that it's because I'm a genius when it comes to this stuff. It's just that listening, really focusing on what is in, you know, listening and talking along with it before you have to punch it in, and it just kind of seamlessly flows right in there. You know, in audiobooks, sometimes you get a lot of pickups, you know, and you have to just make it sound seamless. Make sure if, you know, if you said the word the and you didn't say the word you know, as simple as that, but they want it to be perfect. So you have to go in there and just put it back and just make it sound like she didn't jump out and then jump back in. You know, sometimes I can hear that with other narrators, not to put them down or anything, but I mean, sometimes it's not seamless and it is distracting. So you don't want it to be, but knock wood, no problem just yet.
Yeah. Well, and that's great. You're punching in the way that I'm familiar with from growing up with music recording, and James, I'm sure you are also.
Mhm.
In the music world, it is very common. I mean, it is the only way really to punch in is to play along with what you hear before, and so when an engineer hits record, you just you continue, even though the playback jumps to record, you just continue doing your thing. Whereas a lot of people who are newer to voiceover, and especially those recording audiobooks, use a technique called punch and roll. So they will listen to what's before the part where they want to re-record, but they don't read out loud along with it. And I don't find that that ever works as well because especially with the breaths, they seem to be cut off and things like that. It just doesn't quite flow. And so what you're saying, Marie, is it makes a lot of sense when you
Oh,
talk into it,
mhm.
especially 4 or 5 minutes. That's a long time. I don't.
Well, yeah,
But
that's for a project like that was, 10 years ago, but like I just finished an audiobook today. And then I was re-listening to certain parts and I saw that I messed up something or there was, I don't know, there was a sound in the background. So I said, well, I can't leave that in. So, you're recording, and you, at the end of a sentence, I'll put my marker and then I'll start again, where I left off. But that's usually like 3 or 4 seconds before I punch in when it comes to an audio.
okay.
You
Do
know,
you use a clicker of any sort, or clap your hands, or snap your fingers, or something?
I used to, and that was so annoying.
Oh wow.
So annoying because at first I would do snaps, then I got a clicker, and then I would just clap. And that was before I did punch and roll, and it just took forever. It took forever, if it was a chapter that was 30 minutes long, sometimes it took me like 3 4 hours to edit it and master it and all that stuff. Now just using punch and roll, of course I've gotten better. A finished hour of audio takes me an hour because I've been doing it. It's not because I'm wonderful. It's because I've been doing it.
Well, okay, but you can't if you have any edits whatsoever. You can't be at a 1-to-1 ratio. It could be close, but like
uh,
if you in 1 hour, I'm curious about this. 1 hour of finished audio would take you how long?
Usually, if it's a nonfiction book, which this one was, very easy, wonderful writing. It took me about an hour and a half to finish
Okay,
hours worth.
so if you are at a 1 to 1.5 ratio, that's one of the best ratios I've heard, and I stand even more impressed.
Well, yeah,
I'm going to bow to you at the end of the show. No,
oh,
seriously, Marie, like I'm
oh,
really impressed with what you're doing.
thank
You've
you.
done super well. I'm
Thank you.
thrilled. Let's jump over to Christine and James for a second. So you worked on your first audiobook. Did you
Mhm.
use a method of punch and roll or punch ins, or did you use dog clicks or snaps or anything? Or do you know what I'm talking about with the clickers?
Well, we didn't. No, we read it, and then yeah, any mistakes, I just went in and just chopped them out. I use shuffle mode on Pro Tools, super handy. So you chop it out, and it just
Puts it
clicks it
right back.
shut.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how I did that. I'm sure there's a quicker way to do it, but it was my first time.
It
So
was the learning curve, I
yeah,
think, still.
learning. Yeah.
First one, yeah.
Mhm.
Almost everyone's, probably everyone. Your first audiobook always takes a lot longer. Yeah, a lot of people
Yeah.
who narrate audiobooks will use a sound source every time they make a mistake.
Uh huh.
So if you are reading your script, the manuscript, and you stumble on a word and you go back, you can clap your hand or something like that, or use a dog clicker. It makes a very quick, loud sound. What that does is it produces a spike in the file, in the WAV file, and then when you go back to edit the book, you don't need to listen to the whole book. You can just kind of quickly scan, and when you see something like that shoots up to the top, you would click something there, clapped your hands or screamed. I wouldn't scream, but something loud. And then, you can jump to that next point to fix and edit. So a lot of
Yeah.
people use the dog clickers. It's super popular for that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've done over 100 books, and I still have the clicker, but I don't use it because um, over the years, you just kind of find your own rhythm, you find your own way that works for you. And I've also found like the best time of day for me to narrate for that many hours is usually 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Before that, my voice is not at its peak, and after that, it gets tired. So,
Yeah.
you know, I that's when I usually record my audiobooks. But I get a lot of auditions from different agents for commercial work. So when I'm too tired doing the audiobook, I'll just stop, audition, send in a couple of auditions, go back to the book, back and forth. So it's this juggling, but that's what makes it fun for me, because it's always different. Every day is different, and
Yeah.
you never.
What type of audiobooks do you narrate most? Fiction, nonfiction, subgenre?
Mostly it's nonfiction. I've done some historical fiction, cozy mysteries, sort of like, the old lady who solves the mystery, the crime, the murder. Mostly nonfiction. I love memoirs. The book that I just finished is a book on dementia. And there's another book that's due at the end of July for me. It's a memoir. So I love that. And I love knowing people's lives, like where did they start from, and how did they get there, how did they get to where they are now. I love knowing that. I love knowing how people met each other, like couples or partners. I love knowing, like, so how did you guys get together? I find that really fascinating.
And what about for Christine and James? What type of book did you narrate recently?
It was a nonfiction. Again, someone who had quite the hard life, and
Kind of a memoir or
Yeah.
autobiography kind of thing, right?
Yeah. And it was fascinating to do something where, again, I could relate, and just like, Marie was saying, just get to know, I don't know, I was overwhelmed by just empathy for this person's life. And that was fun, because I don't always have that, commercials. It's just a small little bit that you're doing, and it's over so quickly. But yeah, it was nice to kind of delve in, and have the back and forth also with the author, to learn a little bit about her.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's intriguing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have 5 minutes left. Does anyone on this call have any questions for Christine and James or Marie?
Hey, David. Ken here. Can I ask a question?
Of course.
Thanks. Actually, I'll send it out to both of you. I just finished my first audiobook, which was more
Congrats.
a practice run. So, boy, I learned a whole lot about what I can definitely do better. So that was a good thing. But my question is, do you read the manuscripts before you record, or do you record cold?
Christine?
I do read them. I read it before, for
Okay.
beginning to end. Yeah.
Okay.
Marie?
For me, if it's a fiction book, I always read it because of the characters. I need to find out who they are. I try to write down at least 3 adjectives. Are they old? Do they have an accent? Do they have a lisp? Are they educated? Are they not educated? Things like that. With nonfiction, I usually skim through it to see if there are any pronunciations of names or words that I don't know, because that's part of your job, is to do the research. So I'll skim through it, get a gist of what the story is about. But in the beginning, yes, I read every single word. And I don't want to make it sound like I'm being lazy now that I've done all these books. That's not the case. It's just that when you've been doing something for a while, it's sort of like, I equate it to like making dinner. Like if you're making dinner every single night, you don't have to, say, okay, now I have to, put the pot on for the macaroni, and now I have to put this on. Like you just kind of go through, you just do it. You just do the steps, because you're so familiar with it. There have been nonfiction books that have been research nightmares, especially medical books or pharmacological books that are just 13 syllable words that I had to really practice how to pronounce them. But
In those situations, can you get a pronunciation guide from your client? Because we usually ask for those from our clients.
you can sometimes, not all the time. Some publishers, they will pay you to do the research, meaning like they'll pay you like 25 bucks an hour to do the research. And sometimes the research can be 6-7 hours, depending on the complexity of the book. This last author that's due at the end of July, I actually met the author on a Zoom call with the publisher, and that is so unusual because I think I've only met one other author. Usually it's just, here's your book, go. And I spoke with her, and they use Positron, which is,
Yes.
yeah, the software that is, um,
It's review software.
right. And in that they had tons, I think they had over 200 words that helped with, pronunciations, which helped me a great deal. So I didn't
Yeah.
have to, they were there for me.
Okay, fabulous. Congrats on your first book.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, just about everyone goes through that first book. It says, "Ooh, that was a doozy."
Yeah.
Yeah, like you might have a 6-to-1 ratio at this point, or a 10-to-1 ratio, and yeah, there are there are some very simple tools and techniques that really get you moving much more quickly through books. And interestingly, the techniques help you sound a lot better too. So implementing some of these techniques can take you from like a 6-to-1 ratio to a 2-to-1 ratio, and have you sound better at the same time. So, and Marie, I'm totally with you. After at some point, I've directed probably 10,000 different jobs at this point, like without exaggeration. And I go into sessions right now, and I don't prepare. Not that I don't care, but like I've just at some point, like you said, with the macaroni on the oven, like you just do it. You can go through the moves and still do a really good job. So, other questions for Christine, James, or Marie? Anyone? We have just a minute or two left. Is there anything you'd like to see about the studio? Do you have any questions about the software they use? Questions about the mic stand that they use? The acoustics in their editing area? Why they chose a certain computer?
I would imagine, I'm just thinking, if I was on the other side, if I was one of the attendees and not one of the guests, I'd be so overwhelmed at this point. Like, oh my God. And I did, for months. I was on YouTube and I was like Googling, like, how the heck do I do this?
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
just,
Yeah,
you don't know what you don't know. And
true.
but you get there. You somehow get there. But Zoom calls like this, looking at Facebook groups with voice acting, or like just, I mean, I was just lucky that I was able to start with Edge because uh, I,
Yay.
I remember going there, and Kristen was my first
Oh, yeah.
teacher. And it was just like a regular class, like intro to voiceover. You know nothing about voiceover. This is a class for you. I went, and I walked out of there. I was like floating down the street because I said, oh my God, now I know what I want to be when I grow up. And I was 55 years old at the time when I started. So I said, oh my God, where has this been?
Hmm.
So yeah, it just, coach all the time. I still coach all the time, because things go out of fashion so quickly when it comes to whether it's commercial work or whatever whatever you're deciding you want to work on. And to be competitive, you have to know what's out there. You have to be smart. You have to be smart about it, and
Absolutely.
say, "Oh, well, I didn't know." No,
Yep. Super well said. And there are some people on this call who are incredibly experienced. In addition to Marie, Christine, and James, some of the attendees have a lot of years at this, and are wonderful voice actors. I recognize some of their names, so uh, I would actually call them out. Except we are at the end of the hour. Oh my goodness! I want to give a special thanks to Marie and Christine and James.
very
They
welcome.
have donated their time to give a tour of their studio, to show us their booths, tell us about their microphone. I don't their preamps, tell us their interesting stories, and they're here volunteering their time and to help educate. So a huge thank you to the three of you. A huge thank you.
Well,
Thank
happy
you
to
so
be
much
here.
for having us.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes, it's wonderful.
We really enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
it's super fun. It's great to see your studios. Christine and James, I hope to get to know you all more. Marie, we'll stay
Yeah,
more in touch.
likewise.
And now that you're in our roster, somehow you ended up back in our roster, and that's great. So we can bring you in more for more projects.
Great.
Yeah, because we have 5 studios and we're booking, and production has been busy for us, thank goodness. So,
Yes.
so we'll see if we can get you back in. And
Fabulous.
this is another. Oh, let me see if there's any super last important questions in the chat. We have. Oh, thanks so much. Thank you so much. No questions, just thank yous. So from the group, from
You
everyone.
too.
Yeah, a huge thank you.
Cool.
This is Home Studio Show and Tell. I think we might be episode 32. I'm not sure what this is, or episode 31. This show is recorded live the second Tuesday of every month, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, at the same link. So if you're watching this video after it was recorded, join us live, because then you can ask questions. Okay, everyone, I wish you a fantastic rest of your day, and good
Thank
luck
you.
in your voiceover world.
Thanks so much.
Thank you
Good
all.
night,
Thank
everybody.
you. Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Take care.
Peace
Goodbye.
out.
You.